All right, 93, 93, 93. This is Amon Asha Renew from AshaRenew.com. In here for another video, another live stream. We're going to kind of speak about current events in this one. I haven't really been making too much content, speaking about world events and politics and all that. It has been, maybe a month or so, give or take. So I thought I'd just hop right in here real smoothly and just kind of reaffirm what I've been saying over the past couple months anyway, and we'll see how this all comes full circle. So if we are not familiar or aware, Joe Biden gave a speech. What's up, Natasha? Peace. Joe Biden gave a speech Thursday. And for those who didn't see it, oh, they went hard. And when I say they, I mean like the whole organization, the whole, presidential cabinet. I mean, and if you look at that speech, they had like the red tones in the background, like we ready for war, stimulating that root chakra. They had the Marines flanking him on both sides, so they was going in. It looked magical. He was not playing. I think he said Maga maybe about 50 times in that speech. It was said, he said Maga like 50 times. So what is this really about? Is Trump really that much of a threat? What's up, Divine? Peace. Is Trump really that much of a threat? Are the MAGA supporters really that much of a threat? Or is it something else going on behind the scenes? Also, the second part of the title says, are we on the verge of civil unrest? Because if we have been paying attention to the international news, international affairs, more and more places, like the people are losing faith in their governments. I've been reading, articles in the media, and it said about 100 countries, are just losing trust in the government, and they're becoming poorer and poorer, and like the people are just getting fed up and fed up, because clearly the governments just don't know how to govern. Basically, the corruption is so deep. Just like the CDC, they had to completely dismantle the CDC. The CDC had to get dismantled because it's just, they're giving confusing messages and signals to the people. But let's dig a little deeper behind the surface, because I know I'm the only one that really go into the depths of this. Because I've said these things before, but now that we have more information as to, there's more evidence. So now it's not like I'm just saying it just because I don't have anything else to say. Meaning I've already let y'all know that Maga is a Egyptian deity. I've said this before. But here's the evidence now. So fuck that I said it before, because it really may not have hit when I said it before. Okay, well, yeah, that's cool, that's interesting. But I've said this before. So this is truly not even about Trump. This is not about Joe Biden. This is an attack. Why? Well, so let me give more context. That's not enough context. I have more. We must understand that America, the corporation of America, has always patterned themselves after the Egyptian society. Right? That's why we have the Washington Monument. There's a Tekken. We call it the Washington Monument, but it's really an Egyptian or Kemetic Tekken. We know that this country has patterned itself, especially in the 20s, like the early 20th century. This country was patterned itself around the Egyptian civilization. Because this country, of course, is not going to pattern itself around, the original people and the original cultures of America. They had to wipe that out. And they replaced it more with what they felt was empowering to them. empowering to the corporation. They wanted to essentially tap into the Egyptian or the Kemetic alchemy. So you can say America, the corporation of America, is a corporation of alchemy. These are alchemists that we call the Illuminati. Why do you think people have been talking about the fucking Illuminati for how long now? Why do you think that's even a deal? Where is all that coming from? Is it just a bunch of conspiracy theorists making up things? Or are they kind of scratching the surface into something deeper that they don't quite understand? And what I mean I mean the conspiracy theorists. Because of course, if you consume the conspiracy theory content, it's always a bunch of facts. You can say they keep track of everything, all the events that's occurring, but they never really get into the spirituality of it all. It just essentially remains materialistic. It remains about, overtaking the government or the government trying to control people, mind control, MK Ultra. It really never goes any further than that. Which is why nobody even knew that Maga is an Egyptian deity. I didn't even know until the spirit told me. That ain't something that I just always known. Just throughout my research, I realized okay, this is what is really going on here. But they can't say that. The conspiracy theorists can't say that. The politicians can't say that. The only person that can say that is me. That's the whole thing. So that's why I have to come forward and let people know what's going on, so that as it begins to develop more and more, we have an understanding of what's going on and we don't get caught up in the propaganda. See, if we get caught up in the propaganda, we lose track or we lose focus of what's truly going on. We get so caught up in the left or the right, the liberals, versus the conservatives. We get so caught up in the red versus blue that we lose track of what type of energy are they trying to harvest or harness. Because again, this is a magical society. Who would you could say in control of the so-called government? The government rules off of magic. It's not guns. The government doesn't rule because the government can come in your house and just kill you with guns. The government rules off of magic. How do we know this? Go do your history on the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK. They were, you can say, like modern day witches, right? Government really doesn't know what's going on. They're as coolest as the rest of the people. So here's the thing. The government are mages. It's really that simple. They are mages. That's why it seems as if they have no clue what to do. It's not a coincidence. Why does it seem like the government, and we're about to send more money to Ukraine, for those who don't know that, we're about to send another, $14 billion to Ukraine. So we're about to shove more billions into a war that we know that we cannot win. But maybe the point was not to win in the first place. See, we're not thinking about that. Because we're thinking, okay, we're going to send all these billions, so we're going to continue to supply them with weaponry. We're going to continue to give them what they need. But what if they really are not trying to win at all? It just appears that way. Because that's exactly what the Russians believe. That's what Vladimir Putin believes. He was like, yo, and again, this is a quote directly from him, or the Russian government, the Kremlin. They like, it doesn't matter how much money we send to Ukraine, we can't stop the inevitable. Why are they talking like that? Why is a whole nother country talking like, it don't matter if you send them $50 billion, it's not going to change the outcome? What gives them so much confidence? Is the confidence coming from arrogance? Or do they have a deeper commitment to something that we really don't understand? I also told y'all that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine was a battle of two goddesses. From my own research, nobody else told you that either. This is a fight against two goddesses. One goddess wants to preserve the tradition, and another goddess, the You could say the Ukrainian goddess, she's more radical. She's more new agey. She wants to be independent. That's why Ukraine is so ready to merge with NATO, to merge with the US, to completely obliterate anything Russian. They want to remove the Russian language. They are suppressing the Russian people. Remember, Ukraine has about 70% of the Ukrainian population is Russian. So just imagine they are suppressed. The Russian people in Ukraine, who have always been there, because they're basically like brothers and sisters, you can't, it's the same people. It's the same people, the same land. All of these energies used to be merged as one power during the Soviet Union. Once the Soviet Union fell, things began to break up. Same with Taiwan and China. It's a little different. It's a little different. It's a little different, right? But it is a similarity in the sense of we're going to be fed this information. We're going to be fed the propaganda, but they're never going to tell you exactly what's going on. Why would they tell you if they are mages? This is what I'm saying here. They are mages. These are not governors. You really think we're ruled by 50 governors and a bunch of politicians and they just don't know what they're doing? They just keep dropping the ball? Or are they really trying to fund the true agenda, which will never be discussed in mainstream media? And the conspiracy, because they tend to be realist. See, that's the thing. Most conspiracy theorists are realist. So these are not the people who are trying to do any type of spiritual research. These are not spiritual people. So they're not going to get information from the spirit. They don't even have any faith in the spirit or the system because they're realists. They don't have faith in anything. It's like an atheist. So their research can only go so far because they can't receive the direct confirmations the same way I did. Again, nobody told me any of this stuff except the spirit. Look over here, connect the dots. I'm like, oh shit, these dots do connect. I would have never knew that. Just with my own intelligence, my IQ isn't super high. It's not that I'm a fucking genius. I just can receive like we all can. I'm no different than anyone else. I just put the energy where it needs to be so that I can receive and then convey it in a coherent fashion so it doesn't seem like I'm just too far off. So that's why I try to bring the logic and the analysis. I try not to go too far into the deep end because I understand everybody isn't spiritual. Everybody isn't for that. So that's why I try to hit all realms, so it don't matter what background you come from, you can at least gain something from this insight. Going back to Ukraine and Russia, this is a battle of two goddesses. One is traditional, one is radical. That's what's truly going on. Now, the reason why there's so much money being funneled into this agenda, these billions of dollars, because you're like, well, why are we so invested in Ukraine? Why are we so invested in Taiwan? It seems as if we are more invested in Ukraine and Taiwan than our own lands. Again, we've already talked about this. We are, you can say, all international. For example, we see what's going on at the border, right? People are coming into America every day, all day. Some are legal, others are illegal. Why does it seem like all of our international affairs are chaotic? It's no coincidence. Why do we seem like we can't get it right in Ukraine? We can't get it right in Taiwan. We can't get the border right. Anything dealing with international affairs, it seems as if we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Is it that the Democrats are just foolish? Not really. Of course they want you to believe that. But everybody tends to forget that Joe Biden was coached or mentored by a KKK member. The history is there. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. He was mentored directly by a KKK mage. The history is there. So to think for 1 second that they have no idea what they're doing, that they're just foolish, that we just got to wait till a Republican fixes the problem. We got to go out and vote because these people are foolish. Remember, this is why Donald Trump keeps speaking about the election was stolen. He knew that he won. He knew that electional fraud had taken place. He knew that they suppressed the information about Hunter Biden. And we ain't just talking about the laptop in terms of like the sexual content. We're talking about the international in terms of he was doing deals in China and Ukraine. It seems as if, let me say this correctly. It seems as if Hunter Biden had his hands in all of the conflict that we are currently experiencing. And the information is there. You can download a copy of the laptop if you truly wanted to. Like if you know how to hack, if you are a hacker, if you have a hacker mind, you can access all. This is available to the public if you have intelligence. This isn't something hidden away. They have a whole copy of the laptop. You can access it. You can download the whole laptop on your fucking computer if you really wanted to. The information is out there. You probably can't Google search it. See, that's the thing. See, Google is suppressing. See, also in the news, Google is suppressing Truth Nation or Truth Network. Trump's network is Truth Social. Yeah, Truth Social. Truth Social is being suppressed by Google. Now you would think, well, why the fuck is Google suppressing search results? Because it is a agenda. You would think a search engine, why are they trying to regulate what results you receive when you type in something? Why is Google trying to regulate results? So, if you use Google, you can't access it. Don't use Google. That's the only evidence, not evidence. That's the only thing I can really say about that. Don't use Google. If you truly want the real information, don't use Google. Google is going to filter your results and going to lead you on a wild goose chase. You're not going to get anywhere with Google. It's just not going to happen. I've tried it. You can try it for yourself. And you're not going to be successful because they are censoring the results. But again, like, why are they going so hard against Trump? Why are they going so hard against Maga? Are they really so afraid of a 70-year-old man, a 70-plus-year-old man? Is he really that fucking powerful? Are they really that afraid? Not necessarily. They want us to believe that. They want us to believe that, but that's really not the case. This is all propaganda. This is an excuse. He is just, you can say, the scapegoat. Trump is truly the scapegoat. That's why, again, he feels that the election was stolen from him, meaning he didn't know. Meaning he thought in his mind that he had it in a bag because he was told by the proper people that you got this. And then he got double-crossed. So everybody amongst him, everybody around him was expecting to win until they pulled a double cross. And excuse me, when I say they, I am speaking about the mages, the magicians, the witches, the warlocks, the ones who are truly making shit happen. America is a magical society. So we think like, okay, well, the KKK was just killing black people, and this was all rituals. You see that little glitch? I saw the glitch. You see we're going too far, right? We're going too far. You're starting to glitch a little bit. I've seen it. I've noticed it. Do you really think when they was burning crosses, when they were hanging people, that it was just because they're just savage people when they can't control themselves? That they're just racist? That they're just nationalists? That's what they want us to believe, that they just hate us so fucking much that they just want to see us destroyed. That's what they want you to think. And they're going to do it by any means. That's what they want you to think. Because they're never going to reveal the secret, because it means that their life is over. That's just how deep this goes. They can't reveal the secret. They will lose their life. They have taken an oath. You cannot serve this country without taking an oath. So once you take a oath, you are subjected to silence. You cannot speak on certain things ever. Even if you're not in a position of power, you can't speak on certain things, right? You can't speak on it. You will get your life took, and it will be justified because you took an oath. Once you take that oath, just like when you sign your name on that contract, if you break that contract, if you renege on the deal, they have the opportunity to take you out of here. How do we know that? It's the same thing in the streets. It's the same thing in the streets. You join a gang, you take that oath, and you start speaking on things you're not supposed to speak on, they are justified in taking your life. You're going to find yourself dead, speaking on things you shouldn't reveal. It's just that simple. So I'm just using that as a parallel. It don't matter if you're in the streets, if you're in politics, it's the same game. The streets are also magical too. You think the streets is just a bunch of people that look like me with a bunch of guns? You know, just threatening people, and they just got the streets on lock because they got big guns? That's what they want you to believe. They want us to believe that it's just a bunch of black on black crime, that we just can't help to kill each other. We can't help to sell drugs to each other and to just obliterate each other. That's what they want us to believe. They're not going to they're not going to reveal, rather, the true secret, that this is magical warfare. It has always been. They call it the war on drugs. But it was never a war on drugs. That was the scapegoat. How do I know? Because if the government doesn't want drugs in this country, drugs will not get in this country. The people that look like me is not creating the drugs. The drugs are coming from elsewhere, outside of America. The drugs come from outside of America, so we don't manufacture it, we just sell it, right? That's why we are called drug dealers. They don't call us drug manufacturers. You see the difference? We're not manufacturing drugs, we just distribute it. We are the distributors. That's the position that we play in that game. So if we're not manufacturing anything, then the so-called war on drugs, why are we the ones getting locked up? Why are the distributors the ones who are the majority in the jails? The majority people that's in the jails look like me, and they are the distributors. They're not manufacturing a goddamn thing, because that's just not how the game goes. The game is deep, deeper than most people can truly handle, honestly. That's why they say the truth hurts. You know, it will hurt people's feelings. And like, damn, our own government is against us, not just physically, but magically. See, this is what's going on. Again, just look at it. When we think about the inflation, when we think about the gas, everything is going up, 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 up. Food is going up, food shortages, all that. Do you really think they're trying to hurt your pockets and that's just an end all be all? They just want to take more money out your pocket? To keep you on the lower edges, to keep you on the edge of your seat. Because that's what they say, right? It's all about the money. You got to follow the money. This shit was never about money. This is why we can send billions of dollars to Ukraine and not break a sweat. If this was truly about money, we wouldn't be sending all that money. We would be trying to solve our issues, our personal issues, our domestic issues. If this was truly about money, it was never about money. They just want you to believe that. They want you to put your life on the line for that dollar bill. And if you fail, then you become a ward of the system. That's what they want your fate to be. But you see, that's not their fate, hence Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden did worse than any guy in these streets, I guarantee it. Hunter Biden has committed worse crimes than anybody you can point to, anybody that looks like me, any so-called drug dealer or street-oriented dude. He has committed more crimes than anybody. But you see, he's a free man. and he probably won't do a day in jail. The only people that's doing that time, that hard time as well, is people that look like me. We're the only ones, the distributors. Again, not the manufacturers, the distributors. So we become wards of the system, and now we continue to build up the system from behind bars. Because we know jails, manufacture like license plates. They manufacture a lot of things that come out of jail. It's big business. Jail is big business. So we just continue to make them more money. But again, it's not about the money. How do you know? If anybody has ever been to jail, you know that it's psychological warfare. You don't just go to jail and you do your time and you come home. They're trying to fuck up your psychology. Why? Because they want you to come back. They don't want you to just leave and get your life together, raise your family, and be a productive citizen. They want you to come back. Because again, if they wanted you to be that, then they would make it harder for you to get a job when you come home from jail. So for anybody who's been to jail, if you have a record, it's harder for you to become employed. It's harder for you to get a job. So if they truly wanted you to stay out of jail, why would they make it harder for you to be a productive citizen? Like you are banned from a lot of money, essentially. So what ends up happening? You end up going right back into the situation that landed you in jail. Why? Because the streets is going to always take you in. When the government throws you to the wayside, guess who's waiting for you? The streets. You can get right back in at any given time, as long as you held the secret, meaning as long as you didn't snitch. You can get right back in position. Again, the oath is still valid. As long as you did not tell on one of your fellow gang members, your fellow initiates, as long as you never broke the seal, you can be embraced. Why wouldn't they embrace you? As long as you maintain an oath, pretty much now that they know, like, okay, when you are under pressure, you're still not going to break. Of course, they're going to love you even more. Well, not physical love. But again, I'm just merging all these worlds together so that we can see the similarities. This is a magical society. So the currency of America is magic. It's not money. They just want you to believe that so that you get caught up in their game. You get caught up in their system. That's why Joe Biden, again, wrote the crime bill, the 3 strikes law, rather. 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes, you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. Why? Because that's where they want you. You're going to spend the rest of your life working for them. You're going to spend the rest of your life under their supervision. That's what they want for your destiny. Again, the distributors, not the manufacturers. The manufacturers are still free. Again, the Hunter Bidens of the world, these are not the people that go to jail. It's the distributors. So you see, if you truly understand what's really going on, which again, most people don't want to know what's going on, why we would rather, pretend like things are normal. Pretend like we're in the best country in the world when we are in the most corrupt place on the planet. But you see, the reason we don't view it like that, again, people don't really, and it's kind of hard to say this shit, but it's real. America is worse than any time in history. Not the America as in the history of America. I mean, America is worse than Babylon. Whatever, what Sodom and Gomorrah, all these wicked places that we read about in the Bible and the Quran and all these places, America has topped all of that shit. Like when you look at the type of activity that they were engaged, remember, just go back. Remember, 2 angels taught people magic, Harut and Marut. If you know the story, who taught man and women magic? It was 2 angels. But the angels they had to warn the people, like, yo, if we teach you this, it's basically on you. You got to deal with the consequences. So they had to warn the people before they taught the magic. They didn't just go around teaching people magic. You basically had to take an oath. Like, yo, if we teach you this magic, this will eventually destroy you. But you get the ball for a little bit though. But it will eventually destroy you. They had to give them the warning, and the people took it anyway. Hence America. Here we are. America is all of that. The Babylon, any place that's demonized in the Bible. They demonize Egypt, they demonize Babylon, they demonize what Canaan, the Canaanites. All of these places that they demonize, America embodies all of that, meaning all of those factors that caused these places to be destroyed because they were just too corrupt. These places were just too corrupt. America has topped that. America is more corrupt than any of these places. How do we know? Because look at the technology makes it so. The people of them times didn't have fucking technology like we do. They didn't have social media. They didn't have the internet. They wasn't seeing people die on live. How many people have seen people die on live? Facebook Live, Instagram Live. We have seen death right as it happened. That shit wasn't going on 2,000 fucking years ago. But it's going on now. So the technology has corrupted us even more. Again, now people want to go viral. People have gone viral from dying. Right? We've seen it. You can look it up right now. There's whole websites dedicated to people killing themselves. I've seen it. There's websites you can go to right now. You want to see somebody blow their own brains out? You can see that because of what? The internet. They didn't have that back in the day, where you can access any of this footage. You can access crazy, but I'm just talking, right? Anything you can imagine, somebody has recorded it. People have recorded killing people. The worst shit that you can imagine has been recorded and is somewhere floating around on the internet. So if you have those keys, if you have those passwords, if you know where to look, you can find it. I mean, I remember seeing shit as a teenager. I don't even know where to find this stuff now. Like, I've seen people fucking like cut off their own penis and all that shit. I'm like, yo, how is this even on the internet? I've seen it. Then a person like committed suicide and shit. Like, I've seen some ridiculous stuff, and I'm like, oh. But when you're a kid, like a teenager, it's like your mind is different. Like, I remember watching this stuff as a teenager. I'm like, oh. Like, it didn't really bother me. But I'm like, yeah, when you're a teenager, like, you're just more hardened. You know what I mean? You're just, you're ready to, that's why a lot of people get in the streets as teenagers. Like, you're just ready to kill. Like, you don't, you got a death wish. You just ready to die. You ready to get it in. You know what I mean? Then, when you go into your 20s, you still got that rebellious spirit. You still got that warrior spirit. And but once you continue to mature, you kind of slow it down. But when you're like in your teenage years and your 20s, like, you just ready to turn up. But again, I don't want to get too far off the topic. Just, just giving street examples, political examples, international examples. Because the people that are truly in power, again, these are not the people that go to jail. And that's also, Trump. He got his residence raided. What's up, X24? That's like one of the main topics in the media now. I think that's around the time that I stopped even doing the political content. When Trump, got his residence raided. They took all the paperwork. They seized all the paperwork. The FBI seized all these documents that they felt was classified. Excuse me. But, because basically the mainstream narrative is he had classified documents that he shouldn't have had, and they're doing all they can to essentially get him locked up, or at the bare minimum, knock him out of the presidential race so that he cannot get elected president again in 2024. That's a mainstream narrative. So all they're saying is they're looking for any evidence they can to make sure that he cannot be reelected. Then remember, they were censoring content. Like, basically, if you were speaking about electional fraud, your content got censored. If you were speaking about like the vaccines and how they are not effective, your content got banned. I even got a strike. I got a strike on my channel for medical misinformation. But guess what happened? About a week and a half ago, YouTube changed its policy. because we got all the evidence we need now. So now you can talk about this stuff. You can talk about it now. But that's after so many people got their channel deleted, so many people got strikes, all type of stuff. You know, people got completely obliterated. But now it's cool. But those people don't get to get their channels back. They don't get to get their livelihoods back. You know, some people have whole livelihoods based off of YouTube, have a whole support system, but they don't get to get any of these things back. It's already too late for them. Because at the time, YouTube was pushing a narrative because they were told anybody speaking about these conspiracy theories, anybody promoting alternative, what's up 305 Capricorn, anybody who is promoting alternative methods for vaccines, they shut you down. It just is what it is. Anybody who has something alternative to say got shut down, got, you know, moved out the way. This is what they're doing. It's not that these people are wrong, it just did not fit their narrative. And now that the narrative has changed, now you can speak about it. Now you can speak about, well, vaccines are not as effective as we thought. And now you can speak about it, and ain't shit gonna happen to your channel now. But if you were speaking about it before, what, a week and a half, before the narrative changed, you got prosecuted. You got banned. You see, you got people getting deplatformed. Some people are getting completely kicked off of the internet. Right? I remember they kept freezing your lives when you wore the Maga hat. You see, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Right? Yeah, you know, people were looking at me crazy, like, yo, you were a Trump supporter? See, they didn't know though. See, I didn't reveal the information until after the fact. Like, no, see, if you knew, you knew. Like, yo, no, Maga is an Egyptian deity. So when you saw me with the Maga hat, see, hopefully it makes sense now. Why I was doing what I was doing back then. So it was never about supporting Trump. You know, it was never about, okay, I'm going this way or I'm Republican. It was never about none of that. I just knew what it was. I'm like, yo, I see what's going on. And I'm just laughing. You see, I can't even stop smiling right now. I'm like, I know what's going on. But I'm letting you know what's going on too. I'm not going to keep it to myself. But if you look at the optics of it, it just looked like, oh, this motherfucker just trolling. It basically looked like I was just trolling. Like, why the fuck is he doing that? But that's how it appeared. But you see, now that we begin to peel back the layers, like, oh, there was something about that. But now we know better. You see, I'm still around. You know, I was able to wiggle through it. You see, I didn't get my channel banned. I was able to wiggle through it. But you see, I was doing all that. They didn't strike my channel until I started talking about COVID and medical misinformation. Then they were like, yo, you're going too far. Other than that, they were just letting everything ride. But again, that's because I had to be strategic. That's just what it is. So that's why you see, like, the only time I ever put anybody's names in my title is only when I'm talking about politicians. Honestly, the only time I ever use somebody's name in my title was really only about politicians. Like, I use Joe Biden, I use Vladimir Putin, I use Zelensky. So that's really the only time I even use names in my titles is really when I'm talking about politics. You're not gonna ever see me put no rappers' names or no entertainers and all that extra shit. It's like, I'm never gonna do that. Again, it'll get more views, but I'm like, it's only surface. Are we really concerned about what's going on with a rapper? But the reason why we are concerned, because we know that they are a part of that so-called secret society or that magical society. That's why people wouldn't give a fuck at all. Trust me, if we didn't even know about the Illuminati, do you really think people would give a fuck about these rappers and their involvement with the government or their involvement with these secret cults? We wouldn't give a fuck either. It's just that we know better. We know that they are agents pushing agendas. Like, a lot of artists are leftists. Like, a lot of the arts, like the liberal arts, are dominated by Democrats, like the Jay-Z's, right? Like, a lot of these entertainers are pro-Democrat. So they're going to push whatever agenda that the Democrats are pushing, and they're going to get paid handsomely for it. So a lot of our entertainers, again, is on the Democrat. It's not too many entertainers that are Republican because the conservatives are not really into the arts like that. What I mean by that is it's not too many conservatives or Republicans that, that's just, they're artists. And again, I'm not saying that they don't dominate the field. The field is dominated by the blue. It's not dominated by the red. The red is more so trying to stick to tradition. Whereas the blue side, they want to be as radical as possible. So that's why they pay a rapper, that speak about bitches and hoes. And yeah, we're going to put money in your pocket for you to push our agenda. But you're not really going to see the right doing that. Like, we're not about to get no fucking rapper no goddamn money to push our agenda, and he's talking crazy or she's talking crazy. They're not really in no rush to do that. So the left dominates the arts because that's where the youth is. The youth is guided by the arts. So that's why a lot of youth, you can say that's why they are subjected to all the propaganda that's being pushed by the left, because the left dominates the arts. So this is just obvious, right? Well, maybe it's not obvious. Hopefully it's obvious now. They all have their certain strongholds. That's what I'm looking for. They all have their own strongholds, right? So again, I'm just bringing everybody up to speed. We've been speaking for 40 minutes. Again, I don't want to make this a long thing. Got other things I want to talk about. So yeah, I'll end it there, and we'll get back into the other type of madness. I know y'all want to hear about the demons and spirituality, alchemy, occultism, right? So I just want to hop in a little bit, just to give people an update on the current event, and give you more insight as to what's truly going on. And you see, I went as deep as I possibly could. You see, they already was glitching, so I'm mentioning certain things. So I went as deep as I could without them just completely shutting the shit down. I appreciate this, Smooth 93. I appreciate that. Salute to you. Again, that's what I'm here to do. So just keep your first eye open. Fuck these two eyes, because they lied to you. It's all propaganda. As long as you keep this dominant, this is how you can navigate without falling victim. All right? So I'll get back at y'all soon. 93, 93, 93.